Ladies and gentlemen, a graduation with 0 guests. My uncle announced it, his camera circling the empty hall I had paid for. The sound of his footsteps echoed off rows of untouched chairs, each one a reminder of who wasn't there. I stood under the harsh lights, pretending the moment still meant something, when my phone buzzed with the first message that would change everything. Then came the second and the third, each one sharper than the last. People think the worst part was standing alone in that room, but they are wrong. The real betrayal did not happen there. It happened after I smiled. My name is Ella, and for as long as I can remember, I have been the quietly responsible one, the daughter who double-checks the locks, the employee who color-codes deadlines, the sister who picks up every call that starts with, "Hey, quick question." People say I have a calm presence, but calm is just what happens when you grow up patching holes no one else admits are there. My family likes to brag we are close, though what they really mean is that I stay close enough to fix whatever they drop. Mom Elaine calls it being thoughtful. Dad Marcus calls it being practical. Leo, my younger brother, just calls it convenient. From the outside we look warm. Holiday photos lined up in the hallway of their house in the city, everyone smiling like we rehearsed it. But even as a kid, I learned to stand slightly off to the side. The spotlight was always angled toward Leo, our promising one, while I became the background scaffolding that held everything up. The pattern stretched into adulthood. While Leo bounced between hobbies and short-lived jobs, I balanced a full-time office position with part-time shifts to cover my own bills, and often theirs. Each time I tried to pull back, Mom would tilt her head and say something soft but sharp like, "You know your brother had a hard year," or, "You are so strong, sweetie. It is why we rely on you." Strength in our house meant carrying more than your share without letting your hands shake. Still, I hoped things would feel different once I finished my graduate program. It was not a big ceremony, but it mattered to me. I had worked through late nights and early mornings, stretching myself thin so no one else had to rearrange their lives. When my family promised they would be there to celebrate, I let myself believe them. I even rented a small hall on campus. Nothing fancy, just enough space for photos and coffee afterward. The morning of the ceremony, I woke early, smoothing the gown across my bed, imagining my parents' smiles, Leo's teasing, maybe even a rare moment where I felt seen. I carried that hope with me into the hall, setting up chairs, adjusting the banner with my name on it, humming to distract myself from the nerves crawling under my skin. But as minutes passed and the room stayed empty, hope thinned into something brittle. My phone stayed silent. The banner drooped on one side. A custodian walked by and offered a small congratulations that felt both kind and devastating. I kept checking the door, expecting the people I loved to walk through it. They never did. The silence in that hall felt louder than my uncle's camera. I kept pretending it did not matter, adjusting the edge of the banner, straightening chairs that no one would sit in. When my phone finally buzzed, I expected an apology. Maybe a "traffic is bad, we are parking now," something that would let me breathe again. Instead, the screen lit up with Mom's message. "We are at your brother's housewarming. Don't be salty. Love you." I read it twice, as if repetition could soften it. It did not. Her words had that familiar sweetness, the kind meant to distract from the sting. I felt something tighten inside my chest, a mix of disbelief and recognition. This was not new, it was just louder today. Before I could form any response, a second message popped up. "Dad, catering is on your card. Just $500 or $600. I forgot mine." The number hit me first, then the assumption, then the realization they were not just absent. They were comfortable being absent. They did not even hesitate before shifting a bill the size of my rent onto me, all while celebrating my brother across town. For a moment, the room tilted. I blinked hard, grounding myself with the cold metal of the folding chair beside me. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, unsure whether to protest or disappear. In the end, disappearing won. I sent a thumbs up, the same thumbs up I had used for years to keep the peace. The hall felt smaller after that, the air heavier. And suddenly, All the smaller memories I had tucked into corners of my mind started pushing forward. The emergency payments Mom insisted were temporary. Leo's textbooks I had bought even though he never opened them. Dad's yearly habit of offering to pay for something but accidentally leaving his wallet at home. Every unpaid debt, every emotional twist, every moment I had swallowed instead of speaking, they all lined up inside me like a quiet protest. My uncle tapped my arm. "Want me to keep filming or?" I forced a smile that did not reach anywhere near my eyes. "It is fine." He nodded and walked out the door, clicking shut behind him. The hum of the overhead lights filled the space again, steady and indifferent. I sat on the edge of the stage, gown pooling around my knees, and tried to understand why this moment hurt more than all the others combined. Maybe it was because I had hoped. Maybe it was because deep down I believed that finishing this program would finally earn me a seat at the same table where Leo had been fed praise his whole life. But as I stared at that empty room, I realized something sharp and undeniable. Hope had made me complicit. By the time I walked out of the hall, the hurt had cooled into something else. Not rage, not yet, but a clarity I had never allowed myself to feel before. Something in me had shifted. I just did not know then that shift would become the fault line that changed everything. The walk home felt longer than usual. Even though I had taken the same streets for years, the city was warm with spring, people carrying bouquets and posing for their own graduation photos. I kept my gaze forward, as if looking too closely at someone else's happiness might crack whatever was holding me together. When I finally stepped into my apartment, the silence hit me like a second betrayal. I set my gown over a chair and stood there, unsure what to do with my hands, my breath, any of it. The ceremony was supposed to be a beginning. Instead, it felt like a mirror held up to everything I had been pretending not to see. I placed my phone face down on the counter. It buzzed again. Leo posting another video from his housewarming, people laughing under string lights. A table full of catered food I had apparently funded. He wrote, "Family first," with a smirking emoji. The words hollowed out my stomach. I opened my planner, the same one I used to color code meetings and part-time shifts, and pulled out the stack of bills I kept tucked inside the back pocket. Payments highlighted in different colors, transfers marked with dates, notes scribbled in margins. Temporary, just this once, they will pay me back. Looking at the pages felt like looking at a map of every time I had chosen them over myself, a map of my own erasure. I spread everything across the table. The surface disappeared under receipts, statements, and the quiet truth of what I had carried for years. I had not realized the pattern until now, how each favor had been disguised as love, how each sacrifice had been expected the moment I proved I could handle the weight. My phone buzzed again. This time I picked it up, not to answer, just to listen to the vibration echo across the wood. A reminder that they could reach me anytime, but I had never been allowed to reach back with my own needs. I dialed one number. Aunt Ruth answered on the first ring. "Are you home?" she asked, her voice already knowing. "Yes." "Did something happen?" I let out a slow breath. "It is not one thing, it is everything." She arrived 20 minutes later with a grocery bag, and the steady presence of someone who has survived her own storms. When she saw the table, she did not gasp or panic. She just nodded as if confirming something she had suspected all along. "They have been taking advantage of you," she said. Her voice was not accusatory, it was freeing. We sat for hours going through the numbers, the messages, the moments that led me here. With every page I flipped, the fog lifted. This was not love. This was not family, not the kind that protects you. And somewhere between the highlighted dates and the hollow apologies I had saved over the years, a new thought formed. Quiet, steady, undeniable. If they could treat me like a resource, I could treat the truth like a boundary. By the time Aunt Ruth left, I had a plan. Not revenge, correction. A line drawn clearly for the first time in my life. The morning I put my plan into motion, the city felt strangely quiet, like the air was holding its breath for me. I had spent the night assembling everything. Copies of payments, summaries of bills, covered notes of transfers I had made over the years. Not every detail, not every receipt, just enough to make a point so clear it could not be twisted into something else. Each folder went into a plain shipping box. Clean, neat, honest. Honesty, I realized, is louder than anger when you lay it out in numbers. On top of every stack, I placed the same note printed on thick white paper. From today forward, I no longer pay for anyone but myself. Simple, non-negotiable. My handwriting had never looked steadier. When the courier arrived to pick up the boxes, I almost expected him to ask what was inside. He did not. He just scanned the labels, Leo's address, and said, "They will get these within the hour." "Perfect," I replied, surprising myself with the calm in my voice. I had rehearsed what might happen next. Shouting, pleading, maybe denial, but nothing prepared me for how quiet my apartment felt once the boxes left. It was the first time silence did not feel like abandonment. It felt like control. An hour later, I got the notification, delivered. Then nothing. 5 minutes. 10. I stared at my screen, almost amused at myself. Why was I nervous? I had not lied, had not attacked, had not done anything except hand them the truth that they had built with their own decisions. And then the storm began. Not with a call, but with a video. Someone from the party filmed Leo slicing open the largest box with a kitchen knife, grinning like it was some extravagant gift. People around him cheered, drinks in hand. Music played in the background. Warm lights, beautiful decor, all funded by someone who was not even invited. He peeled back the flaps, saw the stacks of documents, saw his name printed again and again. His smile flickered, stumbled, died. Someone off camera murmured, "Dude, what is all that?" Leo did not answer. He flipped through the papers, then reached the note I had placed on top. I saw the moment he read the words. His jaw tightened, his fingers curled around the edge. The camera shook, then cut abruptly. My phone rang immediately. Mom first, then Dad, then Leo, then all three again. I did not pick up. Not yet. Messages poured in. "Mom. What is this? Explain yourself right now." "Dad. Call me. This is serious." "Leo. Are you kidding? You are embarrassing us." Us. An interesting choice of pronoun from someone who had never shared the weight. I let the phone buzz until the voicemail icon blinked. Only then did I answer one call, the one I knew would come. Mom calling from Dad's phone, when she realized I had muted hers. "ISA," she snapped the moment I picked up. "What did you send to your brother's house?" "Records," I said. "Just records." "You are ruining his celebration. People are confused. They are asking questions. This is humiliating." "For who?" I asked. "For us," she shot back. "You blindsided your family on a special day." I almost laughed. "A special day? You mean the one you all attended instead of mine?" She went silent. Not the quiet of understanding, just the quiet of regrouping. "You did not need a whole show," she said finally. "You could have talked to us privately." "I have tried privately," I said. "For years." Dad grabbed the phone. I heard his voice before he fully came on the line. "Ella, listen. This is not how adults behave. You are acting emotional." "Emotional?" "Of course." I kept my voice steady. "You charged over $5,000 to my card yesterday without asking." "I told you I forgot mine," he said, as if that excused everything. "That is not a justification," I replied softly. "It is a pattern." There was a pause. Then the temperature of his voice dropped. "So this is punishment for us not going to your graduation?" "No," I said. "This is accountability for everything before that, and everything you pretended I didn't notice." I could almost hear him blinking, trying to process the unfamiliar sensation of losing leverage. "Get our boxes back," he demanded. "Now I say, do not play games." "I am not," I said. "I am drawing a boundary." Mom jumped in again, her voice sharp and trembling. "After everything we have done for you, this is how you repay us." "What exactly have you done for me?" I asked, Not with bitterness, with clarity. Her silence answered for her. Leo finally called through on a separate line. I picked up, partly out of curiosity. "What is wrong with you?" he spat. "Nothing," I said. "For the first time, nothing is wrong with me. You are making me look bad." "You did that yourself," I replied. "This is petty. This is documentation." He swore under his breath. "You think you are better than us?" "No," I said gently. "I just think I am done being worse to myself for your comfort." I hung up. Not angrily, not triumphantly, just definitively. My phone lit up again. Voicemails this time. Long ones, fast ones, voices tripping over themselves. None of them apologies, only demands. I turned the phone face down and let it ring. The next morning, I sent a single message to our family group chat. "I will not pay for anyone's expenses again. My accounts are closed to you. All future charges will be disputed." Then I blocked Leo, muted my parents, and sat very still in the soft light of my apartment, listening to the quiet settle into the shape of my new life. For the first time, the silence did not feel like rejection. It felt like choosing myself. The days that followed felt strangely weightless, as if someone had finally lifted a hand off my chest. My phone still buzzed with messages from numbers I recognized but no longer owed answers to. I did not rush to silence them. I simply let the noise fade on its own, the way a storm moves across a highway without touching you. I spent my time doing things I had not allowed myself before. Slow morning walks without checking my notifications, buying a coffee without calculating how many family emergencies I was carrying that month. My bank app was suddenly simple, clean mine. Dad tried once more, sending a partial repayment labeled a start. The old version of me might have accepted it just to keep the peace. Instead, I mailed it back with a short, steady note. Payments must match what is owed, not what feels convenient. It was the first time financial clarity felt like emotional clarity, too. Mom left a voicemail that wavered between guilt and nostalgia, but I recognized the pattern now. A story meant to pull me back into the role I had outgrown. I saved it, not out of sentiment, but as a reminder of why the boundary had to exist. And quietly in the background of all this, something unexpected happened. I felt proud, not for the confrontation, but for surviving the years before it. In the end, choosing myself did not feel like rebellion. It felt like finally telling the truth out loud. My family may never understand the line I drew, but I am standing on the right side of it, breathing easier than I have in years.